Okay, these are the notes for November 23rd, angle of elevation and depression. So if you look at this first slide, just make sure you have your calculator with you. Angle of elevation is the angle from the person's line of sight, in other words, what their eyes see, looking up to whatever the object is in the sky. So this person's eye level is right here. Angle of elevation is always inside the triangle. You can see the 38-degree inside the triangle. Okay. Now, if we want to find the height of this hot air balloon, this makes a right triangle right here. Okay. Angle of depression is technically outside of the triangle, but angle of elevation and angle of depression are the same angle because they are alternate interior angles. Remember when you had parallel lines and a transversal, this angle here and this angle here are alternate interior, they're the same. So only thing you have to be careful with is, let's say that this person on the ground, from the ground up to their eye level is 5 feet. If they give you this in the problem, then at the end we're going to have to find the height of the balloon. We're also going to have to add the 5 feet. All right, think about it. So right now, if we wanted to find the height of this balloon, and let's say this person was 100 feet away from where the balloon is to the ground, then from where this person is standing, this is opposite, this is adjacent. So again, if we do SOHCAHTOA, opposite and adjacent is tangent. So we're going to do tangent using a 38-degree angle over 1 equals opposite over hypotenuse. And again, if the variable's on top, you're really just multiplying. So just be careful. Remember, your calculator is going to give you a left parenthesis. You just need to close it. And again, go back to your calculator. I'm going to switch real quick here. And make sure you're on degree mode, which I am. So I'm going to do tan 38, close it, and then do 100. And again, we'll go to the nearest tenth, so that's 78.1. So if it is 78.1 here, remember this person was 5 feet off the ground. So what are we going to do to find the total height of the balloon? 78.1 plus 5. So 83.1 feet. It's going to be our answer. Okay. Now, if it was the person in the balloon and they were looking down, then this would be called an angle of depression. But technically, that's not inside the triangle. Don't put angle of depression there. That is not a 38-degree angle there. All right. The 38 goes down at the bottom. Angle of depression and angle of elevation are always the same. All right. All right. Now, sometimes they'll draw it out for you. Sometimes they won't. This K is standing near a 200-foot high radio tower, so we know that. Use the information in the figure to determine how far K is from the top of the tower. So she must be here, and they're not telling us anything about her being off the ground, so we're just going to go with exactly what they give us right here. So from where she is, this is the opposite, this is a hypotenuse. Alright, opposite hypotenuse is sine, so it's going to be sine 49, make it a fraction, over 1 equals, remember opposite was 200, hypotenuse was x. Now the variable's on the bottom, so this goes with this, sine 49x. 200 goes with 1, divide it. Alright, again, 200 divided by sine 49. Use your calculator. sine 49, about 265. All right. Okay. So x is equal to 265 feet, 265 feet. All right. Next one, this one's not drawn. It's going to be a right triangle. All these problems are right triangles, so make sure you just draw a right triangle. A 60-foot ramp rises from the first floor to the second floor of a parking garage. So it is a ramp, so they gave us the hypotenuse. The ramp makes a 15-degree angle with the ground. Then that must be an angle of elevation. That's 15 degrees. How high above the first floor is the second floor? Well, this must be the first floor. This must be the second floor. So how high above the first floor is the second floor? We're solving for the height right there. So again, if I'm standing where 15 is, that's an opposite. That's a hypotenuse. Again, SOHCAHTOA, that's sine. So sine 15 over 1 equals x over 60. Sine 15, again, when variable's on top, multiply. Sine 15 times 60, same thing. And about 15.5, so it's about 15 and a half feet. So x is equal to 15.5. And again, if they don't draw it out, just draw the right triangle. They always involve a right triangle, okay? The escalator at the Wilshire, Vermont Metro Rail Station in LA rises 76 feet at a 30-degree angle. To find the distance a person travels on the escalator stairs, you can write a trig ratio that involves the hypotenuse and the known leg. Okay, so again, here's the angle, opposite. That's a hypotenuse. Again, opposite hypotenuse is sine. Most of these problems involve tangent or sine. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. So we're going to use sine 30 over 1 equals opposite over hypotenuse, so that's 76 over, this time they use the letter D, variables on the bottom. So that'd be sine 30D equals 76 times 1 is 76. So divide both sides by sine 30. But also you should notice, if this is 30 and that's 90, this is also a 30, 60, 90. And 76 must be the short leg, D must be the hypotenuse. I bet that's the same as doing 76 times 2, but let's just see. So we're going to do 76 divided by sine 30. Clear that. 76 divided by sine 30. It's exactly 152, which is the same as 76 times 2, so it's 152. Again, if you know your 30, 60, 90 rules, so D is equal to 152. But if you know your 30, 60, 90 rules, you could have done it a whole lot quicker. Here's another one. You want to measure the height of a building. You stand 100 feet from the building. You measure the angle of elevation. Remember, angle of elevation is always on the ground. From a point on the ground to the top of the building to be 48 degrees, estimate the height of the building. So what are we solving for? The hypotenuse or the other leg? We want to know the height of the building. So that's what I'm solving for right there. Angle of elevation is always inside the triangle. All right, it's always at the bottom inside the triangle. A building should make a right angle with the ground. So even if they didn't draw this, you still should be able to solve it. Opposite, adjacent. What's opposite and adjacent? That's tangent. So tan 48 over 1 equals x over 100. Multiply. So tan 48 times 100. 111. And if you did it to the nearest tenth, it'd be 111.1. That 0.06 would become a 0.1. All right. Okay, from the top of a 35-meter cliff, Miss Houston spots a hiker at an angle of depression of 62 degrees. Okay, so here's where we got to be careful. Angle of depression technically is outside of the original triangle, but it has to reappear because of alternate interior angles. How far away is Miss Houston from the hiker? So we need to figure out how far away Miss Houston is from the hiker. So there's two ways that we could do this. This angle here reappears right here. Remember, an angle of depression is the same as an angle of elevation because they're alternate interior angles. And what we're solving for here is how far apart these two people are from each other. So from this angle, that's an opposite, that's a hypotenuse. Again, that looks like a sine problem if it's opposite and hypotenuse. So it should be sine 62 over 1 equals opposite is 35, x is the hypotenuse. Again, if variable's on the bottom, sine 62 goes with x. So sine 62x equals 35 divided by sine 62. Alright, 35 divided by sine 62. And they're about 39.6 feet apart. Alright, so that answer is 39.6. So x is equal to 39.6. Alright, so 39.6. Alright, and again, that's it. Just go look under the assignment and make sure that you either print it or redraw those problems and then send it to me. I believe that shuts off tomorrow morning, and then